Hey everyone, Random Crayon here, back with our 162 Bounty Builder hand history review. This is part 3. If you guys haven't seen part 1 and 2, please stop watching now so you can go back and review those, be properly caught up. Got a pretty good stack here. 51k at 35700. It's a little under 80 blinds. We just raise the ace 10 suited and shippity dip the bleezies. Now we have the ace 9 suited, min raise under the gun, BB defends, just donk leads on this ace deuce deuce, easy flat. Turn a flush draw, they bet again. Again, very standard call. And the river is an offsuit 8. And they check. So we decide to bet because we figure our ace is going to be good a lot. Since they just called pre, they don't have ace king. Probably not ace queen. And it's doubtful that ace jack or 10 would bet flop, bet turn, check river. They're usually going to check call, and if they're betting the flop and the turn, yeah, I would imagine they would bet the river with it. So when they take this line of bet, check, I think they're going to have flush draws more than anything. I mean, maybe they occasionally have ace 10 or ace jack, but again, I think they just check call that rather than lead it. So I think, yeah, we'll just have a lot of like just missed diamond combos here, which is why we decide to bet pretty small, less than what they made it on the turn, to induce a check raise from, say like jack 10 of diamonds. Something that just missed, it was giving up when they checked the river. But when we bet like 1/5 pot, they might think that, we have something that we're willing to fold. Like a weak ace, we have a medium ace. So maybe, if they can put us on something like this, or maybe put us on a misdraw ourselves, maybe we have like king, queen of diamonds, then they can check raise us off of our hand. So that was what we were going for here. And they just call instead with missed diamonds indeed, but they paired their 8. So we were right. They had exactly what we thought they did. And if the river was like a 7, there's a chance that they would just check raise with their missed flush draw. Or, they'd probably just donk, I guess, and we'd just peel them off. But yeah, they could check raise as well, potentially, if they decided to just give up in the first place by checking the river. Yeah, I just feel like our hand just has too much value to check back. Like, top pair, 9 kicker, with that action, we're probably going to be good there, so we might as well bet. And we get called by worse, so it worked out pretty well. Now we have king, queen in the small blind, facing a open from the low jack and a flat from the button. We call as well. BB comes along too. Get an ace jack 4 rainbow board, so we flop a gutty. Get a c bet and a call. We decide to come along with our inside straight drizzle. And the BB calls as well. Get a offsuit 4 on the turn. And it just checks around, and jack on the river is an easy one to give up on because someone very likely could have a jack and someone definitely has an ace. So it's a bit too ambitious for us to try and bluff here. Now we have pocket 8s on the cutoff. Easy open, button calls, and BB ships it. Like 15 bigs, very easy ISO, they'll have worse pairs and overs that we're flipping against. So yeah, 8s is just way too strong of a hand to not go with there. And they did indeed have just ace-jack suited for a flip, and they got there in the river. Now we have pocket 5s on the low jack. And just take it down with a 2.5x open. We have ace-10 off here. It's a pretty interesting one. The min raise under the gun +1. Cutoff calls, button calls, and the BB calls. We flop top pair, top kicker with a backdoor flush draw. And we bet for value. A little more than half pot. We get raised. And we're just like, WTF, mate. So I had to think about this hand for a while. And in general, this is a call. We have top pair with a backdoor and a flush draw. But it just seemed kind of strong when this guy raised. You know, like, what's his range? You know, like, what's he going to be raising with? You know, with two people left to act, you know, into an under the gun +1, or what, under the gun +1 opener in the first place. Like, my range is strong, you know, like, and he's still choosing to raise my c-bet. I mean, he could easily have a set of 5s, a set of 7s. Could potentially have 7-5 suited. And, you know, there's only one combo of pocket 10s left, but, you know, it's possible that they could have it. And I think the key factor here is that we have the ace of spades, meaning they can't be raising us with the nut flush draw, which I think is the prime candidate, you know, for flush draw raising. You know, say they have like king, queen of spades, they have like queen, jack of spades. I mean, sure, you know, they could raise with those hands, 2 overs and flush draw. But I think they're more likely to flat those hands. You know, maybe they could have 8-9 or 9 jack of spades for the straight draw plus the flush draw. But again, I think that they flat those kind of hands rather than raise, because since we're under the gun +1, we're going to have stronger range, so it's doubtful that they have as much fold equity, so they would probably want to just call and try and, you know, realize their equity for cheaper. So it just seemed strong when they raised here. And since we can, you know, take away a lot of their flush draw combos, since we have the ace of spades, I think we can weight their range more towards value. Like, it seems like a horrible spot to just, like, you know, raise with complete air. Like, say he's like king jack off. I doubt they raise here. I don't think we can include those types of hands in their range. Like, even like jack 9 off, you know, or I guess jack 9 suited, but like maybe not of spades. See, like jack 9 of diamonds, you know, like inside straight draw and a backdoor flush draw, and an overcard. Sure, they could raise that, but again, I don't think they do generally. So because we are under the +1, we have a strong range, we're c-betting, and they're raising us with 2 players left to act, I think that it's okay to fold here. I know it's really, really nitty, but basically we're just calling and then hoping that the turn in river brick and we can just call them down, I guess, is like the ideal scenario. I guess ideally, you know, we could like turn a 10 or an ace, you know, but you know, there's gonna be like a lot of bad turns, you know, like any spade, you know, like they could have gotten there with their flush, but then obviously we'll call again because we have the nut flush draw, you know, like any, you know, jack, king, queen, you know, like, do we just call down? you know, after we call the raise? Do we just blindly call down on like any non-spade turn and river? You know, like what I mean, like any 8, 9, you know, like jack, yeah, like 6, you know, like straights get there. You know, like it's really hard to like know which cards to call down on. So it's just kind of like a guessing game, and we don't really want to be playing those kind of games when we are this deep. We have 43k behind at 400, 800. We have over 50 blinds. It's a very comfortable stack in the tournament. But when we call this raise here, you know, we're gonna have 37k, and then there's gonna be what, like 28k in the pot. So like we have just like, you know, not much more than a pot-sized bet behind, you know, and we're gonna expect this raiser here to just barrel, you know, a lot of turns. Don't expect him to check back a lot. I mean, like, if we really think he's the kind of player that could raise here with, you know, just a draw or, you know, some sort of weird air hand, and then just give up when called because our flat looks strong, then yeah, we can call. But we don't know that. You know, like, they could easily just fire another bet, you know, like, once we call and, you know, the turn rolls out. Like, it just seems like kind of like a marginal spot, and we're out of position. Like, we're just hoping our top pair, top kicker is good, even though, you know, we're facing like a pretty strong raise. So, like, I know it's nitty, and I know it's probably exploitable in some situations against, you know, some opponents, but like, I just don't think this guy was really on that level. It seemed like he was maybe more playing his hand, and it just seemed like he was strong. Like, I mean, I don't think he's the type of player to ever raise like a worse 10. Like, I think he always flats like, you know, king 10, queen 10, jack 10. So, like, it's just, do we call and then just fold the turn? You know, that just seems pretty weak. But at the same time, you know, like, if we call and then call the turn, we're basically committed on the river, you know, like, and we don't really want to get in, what is it, like almost like 60 blinds, you know, with just like top pair, top kicker on a 10 high board, you know, like, oh yeah, it's just such a mistake, I think, when we call down and are wrong. Like, with this stack size, like, we can do some damage, you know. So I think it's okay to just fold and let them have it sometimes when they have a worse hand, because they're just going to be pretty nutted there enough of the time, you know, to make us not want to like go any further. So I think we can just fold here and let them have it and still just have a very, very comfortable stack, and we can just, like, you know, preserve it for more clear spots. It's a nice hand, Trampolau. Trampolau. Now we have 6-5 suited in the BB. Facing a raise from Jesus or Satan. We got a ace jack deuce board, easy check fold. Now we get a pocket kings, got the Cowboys on the cutoff. And the hijack opens, we just 3 Betsky Wetsky, and they fliggity flat, flop trips on an ace high board. Great opportunity to c-bet, because they're going to have a lot of aces in their range. We just want to get the most out of them. We just bet small on the flop, bet small on the turn, just jam the river for about a pot-sized bet. Effectively like 2/3 pot, since they don't have as much behind. And they just fold. I think it's a spot where we could just bet smaller on the river. In retrospect, like, I think I like betting all in as a bluff, because our hand looks like exactly what it is. We raise pre, you know, could have a big pocket pair or ace king, and now we get an ace king flop, you know, like, could easily, yeah, just have 2 pair, could have trips here. So we bet small to induce, like we do have it, because we do. And we set up a perfect pot-sized river jam. So actually, yeah, I prefer doing this as a bluff, because I think they're going to fold the river so often. So I think instead, we could just bet like 10K? I think 10K we call by an ace for sure. We could even bet less to induce from like misdraws. So they have like 10 jack, 10 queen of clubs. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, we could bet like, wow, maybe like 56.85. You know, about between a fifth and a sixth pot bet. And when you bet that amount with their stack, they have 20K behind. They can shove, and it's like about 3x, almost 4x the size of our bet. So they have perceived fold equity. That's what's important. If we can give them perceived fold equity, then they'll occasionally take it. And when we have a full house, we want to induce as much as possible. So if they ever have, just like 2 missed clubs here, like that's going to be the best bet. All in will never show a profit because they can't call us. But if we bet an amount that they think that they can raise us off of, that's the clear play. That way we get more value from missed draws, and hands that would have folded to a big bet by us. So yeah, I think betting really small here is kind of cool. Or even, just betting like 10, 12K to just get value from that like ace jack that they have that I think they can find fold with when we actually ship it. Oh man, I think we just like went over time. So I'm going to wrap this up now. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us for part 3. Hope to see you for part 4.